to the complete opposite. The 2-mile D-shaped oval in the Irish hills of Michigan has led to some chaotic racing here in the next-gen era and has become almost a pack-style drafting track. We have a field of 36-plus cars here in the Area Cup Series brought to you by the Studio Temporary, and who will lead the pack to the checkered flag after 100 laps. Welcome everybody to PTR TV. Today's coverage of the Area Cup Series. We'll be doing this for 100 laps, 200 milers here for round number 5 of the Area Cup Series. Gonna be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth and in the truck. I got Dirt with me to help out with the color commentary. Brad's prepping for a tornado, and Hunter has a lot of stuff going on at the house. So Dirt, you were with me on the truck series, here with me for the big boys in the Cup Series. Michigan, a stark difference from Sonoma, where we were last week, obviously.
Yeah, it doesn't get a whole lot different. You saw a lot of separation at Sonoma in pretty much every series. Here at Michigan, that is not going to be the case. We are going to see these guys in a pack. It's going to be probably more reminiscent of a Daytona or a Talladega than anything else. These guys are going to be flexing those super speedway muscle memory that they got. So it'll be fun, and get a little bit further into the season now. Points are starting to settle out. We're seeing, what to expect race in and race out right now as far as standings. Seth Noel, 168 points on the board. 25 back is Van Drugman. Connor Horn tied for P2. They're in third, also 25 back. Then 4 and 5 goes James Scioli and Logan Helton. So honestly, still pretty close for how many races we've run.
Absolutely here, and again, everyone's fighting for the chase, but of course that's not till late season, but consistency gonna get us there. Look at P1 on the board, Sebastian Marin. Dirt, I think it was with you that race where he had a hardware failure, took him out for a few races, but he is back here at Michigan. But again, the pole is gonna be important, but I don't think it's gonna be the defining key here at Michigan. But let's take a look at some qualifying laps as they tick on by. John Forbes, just talked about him. He's in the top 10 in points, and he'll be 22nd to run this thing through. And here's Van Drugman. He has been the kid that won't stay out of victory lane this season, and he's going to have a pretty decent start in the 6th spot.
There is a look at Zach Carr in that 27, currently trying to get his lap time in. Still Sebastian Martin time to beat, but it is close, just thousandths of a second between 2 and 3. This track is it's a bit of a paradox for me, Corey. I love driving this track and I love watching this track, but it is nerve-wracking. It is one of those races that you never know how it's going to end, and quite frankly, I'm not sure qualifying is going to be too important today. I think it's going to be one of those races where some drivers start in the back, work their way up front.
Absolutely. You're going to be comers and goers, and maybe a little bit of that sprinkled in here depending on how the cookie crumbles, and maybe a little bit of that, and I'm sure there'll be a little bit of that too over the course of the 100 laps, but hopefully we'll keep it to a minimum. Of course, if you're watching here on PTR TV, want to thank you. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe to us here on PTR TV, and if you're watching on Twitch, consider subscribing to the Area iRacing Twitch. $5 a month, custom emotes, double points. You can redeem those for free merch in the end, and that merch from shop.areairacing.com looking pretty spiffy and sporty, especially with the new Studio Temporary branding here. But that'll be the end of qualifying, and then we'll get ourselves situated for what'll be a 5-minute warm-up, maybe 5 minutes, maybe not. We did get some pre-race info there, Dirt, about goers and go homers. I think we're right on the money here. I do believe we do take 43 cars, so I think everyone is making it. But 43 cars here at Michigan. You said plate racing Daytona Junior. There's going to be a lot of cars out here.
Yeah, it really is. To see a field this size, it's going to be treacherous to navigate, but a lot of pavement to work with. And, this is kind of the cream of the crop as far as iRacing talent is concerned. When you come to Area, we've got a high caliber of drivers. I think, you're on a little bit on the pessimistic side, Corey. You're saying, you think we're going to see some chaos. I think we're going to get a lot of green flag racing. These guys know what they're doing. I think this track's a little bit easier to work with as far as keeping the thing green than Daytona or Talladega, just because you got a little bit more room to move. The car, generally, depending on the setup, isn't too jumpy. We do have some penalties on the night. EOL for Bell, Carr, Stravato, Harberts, and Sheen, so they'll be dropping to the back, but luckily at a draft-style track, not too big of a deal. Now, this is going to be a big deal. It's going to be hard to come back from if we don't get those yellows. Drive-through penalty for Moose, Marin, and Cozy, and that is going to be...
Yeah, Marin, pole sitter. I mean, he'll get the number one pit stall, which we know with the cautions, that number one pit stall is pretty juicy, but we'll have to see how that does play into effect here. Now, just taking a look at the real world trends here. I know Hunter always good at our in-race trends, and we'll talk about them. We do have the last Michigan race here, season 6. But this race used to always be during a race that it was fuel mileage, it was strategy, it was always a very quick race. I mean, we talk about fuel strategy in the next gen in the drafting tracks here, but again, like you said, I think it's really going to be about positioning, minimizing the aero push, and more so timing than anything here tonight. Yeah,
timing going to be very vital. Again, reminiscent of plate racing, you're going to want that timing to be down. And as we see a little bit of chaos,
is that Mark Martin 2013?
Yeah, no, other wall, but yeah, close enough. That was pretty wild to see. But pitting is going to be a pretty big deal if we stay green. It's an easy pit road to get in and out of, and those, I think, are sometimes the worst because they are the most tempting. You got all this pavement, it is just screaming to you to get the best entry you possibly can. And that is where drivers tend to get a little bit greedy. So that'll be fun to see. That is if the race goes green. Again, I'm a bit more on the optimistic side. I think that is what we're going to get. But we're currently in the warm-up. These guys getting their last little bit of practice in. And 100 laps, that is quite a bit of time for these guys. You know, you'd think the patience is going to shine through. But at the same time, if you're not happy with where you are in the field, maybe you're a little bit mid-pack, you're going to get racy. You're going to want to get up towards the front where it might be a little safer. But either way, looking forward to a good race.
Absolutely. And again, a lot of drivers who, of course, Sonoma last week, road course is not everyone's cup of tea. So getting back to a track like this, maybe some drivers took advantage of it, but the ones who didn't take advantage of it want to get back onto the good side of things here at tracks that are more up in their airwaves. But that is going to be the end of our warm-up. So we'll transition back to our starting grid, brought to you by Central Mobile Homes. If you're looking for a small or large home, a new shed, or triple crown trailer, look no further than Central Mobile Homes, serving Florida customers for 30 years with a plethora of large home floor plans, shed designs, and triple crown trailers. In LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clueston, and Sebring, head to centralmobilehomeinc.com. And Dirt, let's head down trackside, give them that PTR TV Central Mobile Homes starting lineup.
On the pole, Sebastian Marin, but he does have that drive-through penalty. So he will be going to the back once the race begins, but he will start the race P1 in the 66 right next to Dylan Alt. Just thousandths of a second separating them. Jake Nichols going to be inside row 2. Michael Curran going to be outside. Looking back another row, Connor Horn in the 67 machine at P5. Reese Schaefer is going to take P6. 7 and 8 going to Jeremy Miller in that 30 and Seth Noel, respectively. Running at the top 10, Van Drugman and Brett Bunkari.
And then rounding out the, starting out the second 10 here, Zach Nerney in the 11th, Logan Helton. We just talked about him and saw him with an interesting pit incident in 12. Travis Beckner, our Hendry County flagman, in 13th, with Hayden Swank in 14th. 15th, we got James Scioli and Max Service, the Canadian, in 16th. 17th will be Tyler Nichols, and then David Weishart, our Season 1 Cup champion, in 18th. And rounding out our top 20, Jacob Harberts and Joseph Causey. He's another one of those EOL drivers, or rather a drive-through driver, pardon me.
And a little bit further back, Gavin Rogers is going to be P21. He's got Ryan Swan in the 20. His outside, 22nd. Frankie Barroso going to be 23rd. Philip Groner, 24th. P25 taken by Justin Anasogak and Zach Carr, going to be 26th. 27 and 28 going to Jarrett Talmadge and Drew Jua. Then we have Garrett D. Grant, John Forbes Jr., and rounding out the rest of the field, Ben T. Pierce, Christian DeVorder, Douglas Newbigging, Josh Cottle. P35 is going to go to Adam Cabot and Rocky Boyd all the names tripping me up in the back of the field. Liam Sheen, P37, Patrick Moose, 38. That's an easy one. 39 and 40, Cole Hooper and David Brown. Then we got 41, Bryce Senesac, 42nd, Jacob Bell. And shotgun on the field, not going to forget him, Seth Berger in the 77. So that is a full grid of cars, Corey. That is the correct number of cars for a NASCAR race, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Clean 43.
And Dirt, for those of us who watched Sonoma, you'd notice there was some issues with the trading paints. I think it was 3 times I restarted the trading paint scheme software before this race. So let's just say I take no fault to any paint schemes, but I did my darndest to make sure they are all correct. Our weather here from Brooklyn, Michigan. 68 in the track, 90, so not quite a cool track, but not quite a toasty track, kind of right in that perfect little ballpark there. 2:30 virtual time. Of course, there's no lights here at Michigan. Well, I don't think they've ever even talked about it, so not a concern here today in our race details, as it always is here in area. Fixed setups, 4 sets of Goodyears, no backup, and many a times we have needed all 3 green white checkers this season, but we're going to hope they don't come into play here tonight.
Yeah, that fixed setup definitely going to keep a track like this even closer than usual. Some tracks, the fixed setup doesn't matter as much. You still get quite a bit of separation, just like the road course we just went to, Sonoma. You come to a place like this, and that, giving everybody the same setup just makes it so competitive, so racy. And having that strategy set of tires as well, that's kind of interesting, seeing where the cautions fall. And I've seen many a strategy win here at Michigan, Corey. That wouldn't be out of the ballpark either. I think you and I were commentating a race in another league where there was precisely one guy who had an extra set of tires, and he wound up winning the race because of it. So you never know what to expect here.
Well, first off, what is with you? Have you been taking some vitamins or something? Because your memory has just been going top tier as of late.
Yeah, we'll call them vitamins, something like that.
Okay, we'll leave it on there. Now, getting keys to the race, there's not really much. I mean, it's just, this is Michigan. This track here on the service is still smooth as when they paved it in 2012. You will see drivers not wanting to run right on the yellow line. No one ever talks about Michigan being a progressively banked track. It kind of is, I think, a parabolic track, so to speak, where the banking kind of curves up, but not quite in grooves as you'd see at Homestead or Bristol. But you won't see that yellow line being the ideal groove, but you will see drivers running all the way up to the wall, trying to get that clean air and taking advantage of the draft to get to the front. Our pole sitter obviously now going to be Jake Nichols in the 73 with Dylan Alt, as Sebastian Marin has been relegated to the back via that penalty. 100 laps for the Area Cup Series in the Irish Hills of Michigan, round number 5. Let's see who can take home the checkered flag. It's going to be a wild one. You're not going to want to miss it, and Barney's going to get the flag rolling here. Green, green, green. We're racing Michigan style.
And it is going to be 2x2 most of the way through the field down into turn 1. Some drivers even looking to jump out. I believe that is Logan Pelton trying to make it 3 wide on the very outside. Seth Noel leading that third lane in that blue and black number 1. And as they come out of turns 1 and 2 for the first time so far, it is clean and green, but they have wasted no time fanning out, Corey. This is 3 wide, 4 wide, all throughout the field. This is a little bit of controlled chaos, staying side by side for the lead. See who is going to lead lap 1. Will it be Dylan Alt or Jake Nichols? Now that number 73 has the inside, and it kind of scuffed his momentum there. I think we're going to give lap 1 to Dylan Alt, but not without challenge.
You can see they're 2x2 down the straight, but this is where they fan out here. They're trying to get that clean air. They're trying to get all of that momentum. And oh my goodness, this is the crazy stuff here. David Weishart on the top of what I believe is 4 wide, and then they all merge together on the exit of the corner. And that is the scary part. You can see those drivers in the pits. Those are the drive-through drivers. Where will they blend out? They'll probably be right on the tail end of the lead lap, I do believe. But again, they're still going door-to-door for the race lead. Seth Noel ripping the top, going to have a head of steam here. Where is he going to go with it? Is he going to just back off? I don't think he's going to have a choice.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to back off a little bit there. But I'll tell you, that outside groove called to him. He sailed it on that outside. Looked like he was going to make up a ton of time, but he scraped the outside wall That is going to scuff that momentum back to P3. Single file now throughout the majority of the front half of the field. Go back a little ways before you get to some 3 wide here. I believe that is
4 wide.
The number 3. Yep, on the bottom of a 4 wide. The bottom of a 4 wide, I think, is actually worse than being in the middle at this track, Corey, because that bottom groove on fresh tires, like you said, it's a little bit flatter down there. It is very loose, and when that car starts to get sideways, and you got 3 cars to your outside, that is a scary situation.
Absolutely, and a lot of these drivers do have team affiliations. A lot of these drivers do actually have a little bit of legitimate help in their spotter booth. Because those drivers who are relying on the iRacing spotter, he doesn't tell you 4 wide. That does not exist. He'll tell you 3, but he won't tell you 4 there. Who is that car going to the back? That Matt car going all the way to the bottom, and that is the 17 of, I believe, Adam Cabot. He drove all the way to the bottom, even through the block, and is door-to-door, and quite literally door-to-door down the front straightaway is Adam Cabot, and I think that's Rocky Boyd, someone who does not let drivers go without a fight.
All right, so according to our scoring and timing, the biggest mover, I'm just looking at this, if this is accurate, John Forbes is going back and forth between 16 and 17 up from where he qualified. Currently P13, battling pole position. He is moving through this field, Corey, wasting no time, just carving his way up through this pack. And now stalled out a little bit in 13th, but I don't know. Give him some more time. He's looking good.
That's Brent Pancari in that white and orange car to the bottom of 3 wide. Jarrett Tallmadge there in the middle, and now that's the 75 Gavin Rogers in the middle as Adam Cabot. I think he wants that Comers and Goers award there in the Comers direction. That sounded terrible. But coming off the corner 3 wide, Brent Pancari, why is he going all the way to the bottom? Is he saying this is too crazy for him, or maybe some hardware failures? I'm not sure. I think he might have just pulled the old Terry Labonte card. I'll race later. I don't trust this.
Yeah, I don't trust it either. Also, quick addendum, Rocky Boyd taking the biggest mover with 18 up. He is in P18, moving up 18 from where he qualified. So those EOL drivers wasting no time trying to compensate, get up through the field, get some points. But up front, this is the situation. This is the battle. Dylan Alt does have the solo lead, but a couple times, Jake Nichols has kind of fanned out at the bottom of the track, made a peek at it, thought about trying to get there. Seth Noel still in 3rd place, Connor Horn P4. These guys just kind of controlling the pace right now. Not a whole lot of pressure. They're not right on each other's bumper. They're not seeing anything as drastic as bump drafting yet, Corey, but they definitely can at this track if they want to, and I think later in the race when things get a little bit more, let's say, aggressive, we'll probably see a little bit of that.
The spice level will turn up there. See that outside lane ripping the wall. This is David Weishart. Michigan again underwent some updates on the iRacing service, and they have added some invisible PJ1 of sorts to that outside groove. So you're seeing drivers run all the way up there trying to keep that momentum high, and that way you can get even better of a draft down the subsequent straightaway. Here he looks to the outside of Hayden Swank in the 00, and now he's to the back of Reese Schaefer. He has no place to go but right to the back bumper of Schaefer, who is now also pushing Helton. Push the pusher, pushing the pusher, pushing the pushy, and they made that work.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they made that work, because generally when you push the pusher, pushing the pusher, pushing the pushy, or whatever it is you said, it doesn't end very well. But they managed to make it work. And like I said, class of the field here, talent level in this league is a little bit above what you see in a lot of other groups. So they can kind of get away with some daring maneuvers every now and again. Not every time. It's stock car racing. It doesn't matter how good you are. Eventually, fate is going to reach out and grab you. But most of the time, they're pretty good at attempting fate and getting away with it. Still too wide there, a little bit further back to number 56 Machine on the outside. He can play a little bit of defense. But yeah, the leaders, I think, right now have the easiest time out of anybody. They're single file. They're just kind of cruising. And then everybody behind them just continually 2 wide, 3 wide, fanning out, a little bit less comfortable. And that is playing right to the leaders' benefit. Now, the question for you becomes, this has got to be a 2-stop race, right? I mean, they can't quite make it to lap 50, I would imagine. But
that's the old Winston Cup number, isn't it? 50 laps. You always heard that here at Michigan and Fontana back in the old days. 50 laps. Get them 50 laps. But Yeah, I would imagine so, Dirt. I don't see them going more than about 45, but again, we don't have any drivers giving us the feedback. Holy mother of toothpaste. Look at this. They are spread all the way out here. Here's 4 wide. Maybe breathe 5 for a minute there. I think in maybe a millisecond they were 5, and this is within the top 10. This isn't for 25th. This is in the top 10, and they want these positions while these tires still have the good in them.
At number 1, I think, was trying to get a side draft on the car below. I think that was Connor Horn, and unable to get the side draft, got himself a little sideways. He's going to drop a few positions, concede those, and now he's under fire. At number 29, David Weishart, right on the bumper, looking up high. He's put into a 3-wide situation. Seems like Seth Noel going in the wrong direction. He was comfortably 3rd. Now he is dropping further and further back, battling for 5th, down to 6th. Momentarily. I don't know if that is a tire situation. I know it is very possible, Corey, to go through tires faster than you think. You take the outside groove consistently, which, by the way, that number 1 is, and that right front's going to be screaming at you, and you're going to lose a little bit of pace. And on a fixed setup, when everybody's this close, a little bit of extra tire wear can mean a lot.
Now, Jeremy Miller getting up to 2nd, and we know he's someone who's not going to waste any time getting to the front and making some aggressive moves. He's down to the bottom there in that black number 30. And whoa, right to the left rear, Dylan Alt. How that wasn't contact, I don't know. But what you saw on the screen there is they're running about a second off the pace. I don't know how much of that is tire wear, and I don't know if any of this is fuel saving. But I would imagine a little bit of A, a little bit of B. But look at Jeremy Miller making like 2 trailer park girls and going around the outside of Dylan Alt for the race lead here, taking lap number 14.
Yeah, Jeremy is doing a heck of a job. He qualified well. He is up 6 from where he started, so he's got a few rows up. Now taking the lead, done a good job taking care of those tires, looking fast. And just as I said, Seth Noel was fading, going in the wrong direction. He's following that 30 right through the P2, so that is interesting to see. Dylan Alt falling back to 3rd, Jake Nichols P4, Connor Horn back to 5th, Cameron Drugman P6. But I mean, it is just a cluster up here, still battling for position. I think we're going to see maybe a bit of a revolving door as these tires start to wear. These guys that have been pushing the car can start feeling it within about 10 laps or so. Looking a little bit further back, there was Sebastian Marin. That was our pole sitter. And now he is all the way
25 seconds
to the next position, 25 to the leader. So he lost the draft, Corey. I think that's what happened. Just lost that lead pack. And
that drive-through pit stop, remember. So that got him out of it. No, just the drive-through. So luckily here at Michigan, certain tracks are less painful than others. Of course, there was a lot of issues here at Sonoma last week with drivers who had penalties, and you had absolutely no chance to come back from those at Sonoma with no cautions. But thus far, I don't want to utter the words in jinx form here, but this race has not facilitated Sebastian Marin catching up. And here goes some 3 wide yet again. Weishart has been captain wall ride here. Seth Noel as well. I think Noel has 2 pancakes thus far, maybe a couple more, and he can get himself an IHOP stack there. But he is in 2nd, closing on that number 30. Oh, no!
I seen what you seen. Way further back in the field, giving us a bit of a start there. Take a look at the PTRTV instant replay. This looked like it was going to be something, but
where was it? It was around Jacob Bell. Who was that? That was Josh Caudell in that number 13 who got loose and in the fence. Everybody evaded, and we carry on.
And that was some good driving. When he bounced back down off that wall, Corey, you know as well as I do, especially this next-gen car likes to snap around on you in those situations and just completely spin. But he kept it going straight. He kept it out of the competition, and he's going to need to get some of that fixed up when he gets down to the pits. But it could have been a lot worse.
Absolutely. So damage to be had. One of the worst tracks to have damage at, but I guess in the same context, maybe not the worst track because the draft is the biggest Band-Aid. If you can stay in it, you are okay. But David Weishart, he has, I don't know where he started. Let's answer that question for you on lap number 17. He's up 14 on the day, the comers and goers. That car is as hot as Rick's hot sauce. And you can get your famous flavors there, made in South Florida, Lokahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach, Pineapple, South Beach Heat. And who will get the $100 Rookie of the Year prize here in the Cup Series, we'll find out at the end of the season. But Weishart up to third and now going for more. He's got that outside or middle lane ripping. He's going to have some mow off turn 4.
And there's the bump drafting we were talking about on board with Weishart, looking at the rear bumper of Nichols back up to P2.
Next gen broke 200.
Down into the corner. Yeah, upwards of 200, and they're going to get around this number. Well, the number one was looking to get around him, but couldn't quite get there. They're getting away from him. And now for the lead, Jake Nichols going to dive down low, side by side. No draft help down there. He's going to have to do a bit of a slide job, get clear of him, and he will. That's going to put Jeremy Miller back to P2, side by side with Weishart. Nichols with a great run, a little bit of help from David back there. That's going to get him another lap led, but we'll see if he can hold on to it because, I don't know, that draft is looking pretty strong.
And we're closing, we're not closing in on pit stops, but we're halfway into what we believe to be a fuel run. And if our assertion is correct and this is going to be a 2-stop race, there's going to be some questions as to what to do with the tires because they are, again, running about a second off the pace. And I'm going to make a crazy statement there. I don't think there's any fuel saving going on. I think these guys are going full bore. So it's going to be very risky to take this race. Never mind.
Oh boy, get it down pit road, no!
Well, the good thing is that's not a caution. The bad thing is Dylan Alt is obviously in a less than favorable position here. You can see contact with him and Travis Beckner. They were just into each other and they could not separate, and he was hoping that tire wall wasn't there and he could just drive through the grass, but all for naught. That'll be most likely catastrophic damage for someone who was right up front leading laps.
Yeah, he led a good number of laps. He had a good qualifying effort there. Unfortunately, that is going to be race-ending damage as he takes the tow back to pit road. A little bit of a tap to the wall from Jake Nichols. He lost about 3/10 from that tap. Gives Weishart a bit of a lead, but believe it or not, that may not be to David's benefit. You don't want to get too far out in front. Somebody might get that draft and slingshot right back by you. Got to be careful with those wall taps, though, Corey. I know the car is going to get tighter and tighter as this run goes on, but I'll tell you, get into the wall one too many times, and you already said this is one of the worst places for aero damage or an ill-handling car. Got to keep this thing
no. Speaking of tight, Rocky Boy couldn't keep it down there. Ryan Swan in the 20 just about went code brown there as he was run out of space, but luckily able to evade. That number 24 of Michael Curhan, he's on the outside with Travis Beckner, our Hendry County flagman, looking to the inside. And you can see him this coming weekend for a bunch of good racing at Hendry County Motorsports Park. Check them out at hendryracing.com. Tickets $20 for adults. Kids 5 and under getting free discounts available for the seniors and the teenagers. So you can check them out there and check Travis out on the flag stand. But he is trying to make something happen there from the 15th spot, shutting the door on Jarrett Tall. Matches the 83 around on the front stretch, David Brown.
Yeah, that is going to be a caution here on lap 24. And it did a good job keeping it down on the apron. I don't believe anybody else got caught up in that, but as far as iRacing is concerned, he was pretty much in the racing line backwards, so that will be an automated yellow. Take a look at the PTR TV instant replay. Might have just been a bump gone wrong is going to be my prediction right there. So you keep your eye on that 83. He's 3 wide for a moment and
right in the middle with the 11. Perfect spin though. That's not going to cause any issues. He lost his track position, but still has his next gen car in one piece.
Yeah, and at the start of the race, we saw drivers gain 16, 17, 18 positions in a matter of just a couple laps, courtesy of the draft. So as long as that car is clean, he should be all right. There's the pace car committing a casual felony there as he just drives straight through everybody. And he is going to get this field woed up, and I believe everybody's going to be coming down, at least for tires. Again, we do have 4 sets, which leaves a bit of a vanity set should you choose to take it. We'll see, though. What is the strategy going to play for our leader? David Weishart does come down pit road. and everybody's following it. It's kind of a no-brainer, Corey.
Absolutely. And it's going to be, I mean, I imagine 4 tires and fuel. Again, we had about a second of fall off. You're going to need a lot of fuel because you don't know how the race is going to transpire. So I imagine putting all 4 on, but it wouldn't surprise me to see some 2 tire stops later into our grid here. But let's see, watch that number 29. And again, 4 tires is what we expect. But who is going to head to that pit outline first? I want to say it's going to be the 11 car, Zach, not the 11, the 66. I don't know what number Zach Nerdy is in this league, but I could have swore a car very similar to his hitting that pit outline first. There's Van Drugman and company, Kurhan. Let's take a gander at who is leading the field now. It's going to be Seth Noel. We had 2 drivers do, I don't want to point out what they did, but they did different pit stops here. As you can tell, 11 seconds.
Yeah, they did 11-1 to another 11-1 there, but you get back to 3rd place David Weishart. He was a 14-second stop, as well as Jake Nichols with another 14-second stop. 15 for Van Drugman, a little bit longer in the stall there. So I don't know if some of these drivers took 2 or maybe just not quite as much fuel. Who knows?
I would say for 11 seconds, that's a full tank of fuel and 2 tires. Which, I mean, Seth Noel, I mean, I don't want to question these guys, Derek.
It wouldn't be the first time I've seen that, because if, you know, I mean, these guys that wasn't a full set of tires. I mean, they did not go a full run, I should say. And if we get a late race caution and you've got 2 tires, you can take fresh right sides. I mean, set it up now. Maybe it pays off later.
Well, the contrary to that is if they take rights now, they only have lefts on the wall later. And typically you don't want to take lefts only. But my question for Noel is he was already in the top 5, I believe, anyways. So there wasn't really going to be much loss to just staying on the same strap. But sometimes these drivers know and they practice, you know, the handling characteristics of this fixed setup. Maybe it is more advantageous, handling-wise, to have the 2 tires. It does kind of offset the balance sometimes in a positive way, and it looks like he is going to opposite lane choice there, and first time we've seen the leader on the outside in a little bit of time.
Yeah, that will be interesting to see. I can understand why they'd go to the outside. It seems to, again, to be the preferred lane of the night. The bottom is just so treacherous here at Michigan, especially on lap 1. Cold tires, a little bit less banking down there. I know I've fallen victim to that many a time across many a video game. It's one thing that seems
Dirk, tell him.
consistent.
Where was your last iRacing official win?
He was right here in the Truck Series many a year ago.
Absolutely. So you've got fond memories here of this famed 2-mile D-shaped oval. I think built in 1969 by, I believe, Roger Penske, but I'm probably wrong on that, but I'll get fact-checked here in our YouTube comments. But coming off of turn number 4, Seth Noel, the leader on the outside lane here, entering the generically labeled restart zone on the loud pedal, and let's try this again, taking lap 27.
So a quarter of the race under green before our first yellow. We'll see if we can get back in the groove, knock out another quarter or more. But it is a battle behind, 2 wide per second, Jake Nichols, John Forbes, and then 3 wide behind for 3 through 6. And it is just fanning out chaos. We're breaking the draft. We're playing IndyCar Simulator, trying to keep these guys from getting too big of a run. Seth Noel wants to get a lap lead here. I believe he already had one. 4 wide further back in the grid. Jarrett Talmadge, Van Drugman, Reese Schaefer. Oh my goodness, that number 17, Adam Cabot, made a little bit of contact. Was able to gather it up, but he got shoved down the track, which is not fun to do. 3 and 4 wide. The double O also in the middle of the sandwich. And they're going to try to go 4 wide again. That was a good run in the middle for the double O. Playing it calm, cool, and collected despite the sketchy situation he finds himself in.
Oh, no.
Way up the track. Do not block that. You can't block that one.
Yeah, do not go up and do not collect $200 there. Hayden Swank nearly evading. Well, just about that happens. James Scioli down to the inside. I haven't talked about Scioli. I believe he was one of our penalty drivers, if I'm not mistaken, but I may be mistaken on that. But anyways, that's 7. We usually expect him up front. Hasn't been up front yet, but he is working his way there, I think, in the 15th spot right now. Getting back to the lead. those 2 tires, what we presume on that Money Lap Moza Racing Camaro there for Seth Noel. Doing a good job. I do enjoy that Parker Kligerman podcast there with Landon Castle. Can check that out. Not a sponsor, but it is a good listen there. But he's hanging on there, so maybe those 2 tires are called to be considered.
If that is indeed what he did, that might be working out. But Jake Nichols keeping him honest. Still on the bumper, John Ford Speed 3, a little bit further back. Here's a battle with that number 17 we were talking about. Adam Cabot seems to be unable to get himself away from the scary situations. He's got cars ahead, cars behind, cars inside, and a wall outside. So he's pretty much just kind of forced to hit his marks, hold on to her, and let things sort themselves out. Hendry County, number 28, gets a good move on high line. He will get cleared. With some contact from back in the field. I believe we've seen some cars bouncing around. Couldn't quite make out what happened there, Corey. We'll take a look at the PTR TV instant replay. And again,
there's something in the back here. Let's try to... Well, they just all fanned out, I guess. I don't know. Couldn't quite see it, but we'll just take it as someone probably got loose and saved it. So that's the most important situation there. But this is the pack that it will not separate. And that is Rocky Boyd, who has been one of the aggressors in the comers and goers. Not afraid to put that car in a position. Anytime we go to a drafting track, I always expect Rocky Boyd to be one of the people willing to make those crazy moves, willing to go to the top when nobody else wants to. And he's making all those statements valid here. But David Weishart, remember, it took about 5-10 laps, and then that's when he started ripping that fence line and really going to the front. Hasn't really moved since the restart, however.
No, he has not. He's been running 38 4s pretty consistently, which is about a tenth off of that group ahead of him. So losing some time now, maybe going to make it back up later if he keeps the tires just a little bit fresher. We are still early in this run. I do want to say, as far as fast laps go, Seth Noel, the man at the front of the field, currently has, I believe, the fast lap at 37.847. That is the only 37-second lap time. Well, though there is one other 37 that would have been Dylan Alt, who is DNF. But the fast lap of the race is that man up front, Seth Noel. And he was scooting at the start of this run, took the lead. Now he's the lead car. Doesn't have the benefit of the draft. 38 threes pretty consistently, so that is consistent with fresh tires. Doesn't seem to have lost a lot of time if 2 tires is what he took.
Now, someone who we have not really mentioned because of the penalty was Sebastian Marin, and he had the penalty. The drive-through was 25 seconds back. That caution allowed him to get back into the swing of things here. To ignore the graphic, he started first, due to his positioning, but not due to his actuality there. But he is up to 23rd right now, and I want to say, was it Las Vegas? I don't remember. Another track that he did so well driving through a pack-style race, and then the bad luck bit him here. So with 65... Oh, God, why did I get myself into an equation there? 65 laps to go. Plenty of time for him to get back to the front.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time to try and use this draft. I think he's been pretty patient. He's been moving at a steady rate. But, as I say that, he goes 3 wide. But I don't know that he wanted to go 3 wide. I think that number 3 machine got a little bit tight. Kind of the door opened unexpectedly, and he just took the opportunity. So now he's going to go single file again. There's one more on the board. And still a long ways to go to make those positions up. But it's pretty much all-out war from front to back in this field. Here's another battle, that number 27 machine alongside the number 80. We're going to get a little bit of side draft action as we go on board, and that is how close it is. Jacob Harbert's going to rock the middle groove. You can see he's just kind of straddled the seams there. I don't know if iRacing is still the same way for you, but I do remember a day where it was a little bit like real life, where if you put 2 tires on those seams directly, probably get a little bit unsettled.
Oh, it does. Oh, believe me, that is definitely something that does happen here. I had it happen to me at Homestead, Miami. You get on those seams, and sometimes it helps, sometimes it hurts. But something of interest here, they're shifting here at Michigan, which just, my old 1990s boomer brain just can't fathom shifting at a super speedway, which I'll effectively call Michigan. See, they're up to 5th, hits about almost $197, $198, back down to 4th gear, keeping those RPMs up, keeping that momentum peeled, as there goes Sebastian Marin ripping the outside, again on his mission to the front.
Yeah, it's almost IndyCar style shifting through the corner, just focus on keeping the revs up, keeping the momentum as high as physically possible. It's not even really so much about the acceleration on exit, I don't think, as it is just the rotation of the car, keeping the revs up, not bogging down. And we're going to go single file again. This is very reminiscent of that first run period. It took them about 10 laps to get single filed up front. That is what we're seeing this time. Except further back, they're not looking as aggressive. We're seeing a lot of 2 wide, but not so much 3 and 4s. The 3 wide pack will go by for the first one, way far back there, duking it out for the points. But getting a bit more separation this run, I think we're going to stay green.
We will see how that works out. Again, we would expect maybe 45 laps from our caution, maybe a pit stop around lap 70-ish, and that would run them to the end. And, there's always going to be that fear as Tolmad going all the way to the bottom there, trying to maybe evade the side draft, or he got loose, a little bit of A, a little bit of B. But you're going to have that decision to make of how much do you trust whether this race is going to go green, which on moves like that, the answer is not very much. Because there's going to be that tire fall-off situation. There's going to be that decision of when, do I split the race or do I wait for a yellow? And I'm banking on wait for a yellow.
I'm going to go the opposite way because I know that with Michigan, it's a bit of a compounding effect. The tires wear tight. They don't wear loose. So I really think as the run goes on, the separation will start to increase. These guys are going to get a little bit less aggressive because they know the car cannot take it. It's just not going to rotate. And we're not really going to see the drivers struggle to keep the handle on these things outside of just trying to keep them off that outside wall. So the further we go, I think the higher the chance of it staying green. And so far, almost 20 laps into the second stint, things are looking good. If I'm a driver, I'm planning on this thing staying green, but you never know. I mean, it is racing. That could definitely come back to bite me.
Whoa, Hayden
Swank.
Right. He has been the driver to watch out for some action on the screen. But I guess kind of piggybacking off that point there, of course, everyone kind of knows about the Artemis mission in space, and I've watched a lot of Neil deGrasse Tyson as of late. And there's a little thing called the fuel equation, the rocket fuel equation, which for every gallon of fuel you need another gallon of fuel to do that, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of the same thing with laps. For every lap that goes by, it increases the chance that the race will stay green. And if you add another lap, now the odds are even higher. Another lap, the odds are even higher. And as you said, we're getting to that point, but then we get to the corners, and again, they're still drafting up to 2-3 wide racing. And when you're still 3 wide and you're introducing a little bit of handling issues, that's where I guess the fear would re-emanate.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's always a low-grade possibility of something happening. Somebody bouncing off the wall, getting a little bit too tight. 2 drivers getting stuck together thanks to the tires getting a little worn. But I tend to agree with what you just said, though. I think that's kind of how Michigan just tends to play out. And speaking of separation, though, these two, Seth Noel, Jake Nichols, they're starting to set sail 0.8 of a second up on John Forbes Jr. in that number 70. And this is the furthest we've seen the leaders get out. This is the most separation we've seen up front. John Forbes, one of the biggest movers of the night. He's up 27 from where he qualified. Again, he had that short pit stop, jumped up a little bit on pit road there. He has been having a phenomenal run, making a good use of that track position he did gain, but unfortunately not able to keep up with these 2 leaders. But if that keeps up, he's going to be able to keep up with them, Corey, because Jake Nichols, that is the 3rd or 4th time we've seen that plume of smoke. And I don't know if that's just a iRacing spectator netcode thing and he's not actually smacking that wall, or if he really is. And if he is, that car is going to get real tight real quick.
Yeah, and then they'll add a couple seconds to the pit stop as there goes somebody around. That's Rocky Boyd.
Oh, no. He was on the recovery tour, gaining a lot of positions.
Could only be on the ragged edge for so long before eventually the ragged edge will do that. That looked like a self-spin. That looked like a rewind a couple seconds further back. Now, is this... that's not weird.
Oh, no. Yeah, I was going to say, if it was a self-spin, I'd be really surprised because I would imagine the handling condition is very tight out there. But no, that was just a bump. That was a bump in this next-gen car. It's like an Indy car. Once it starts spinning, there is very little saving it. Go on board now with the driver behind this.
Yeah, that was...
That was a shot.
Slam bam, thank you ma'am, I think the saying is. Might not be the saying, but it is now.
I think it's Wham Bam Man.
You say potato, I say tomato. Anyways, this will put us in a situation where I think now we're kind of eliminating some strategy because we'll have 50 some odd laps to go, which probably means everyone is actually, no, I guess this could be a mega save race, which I don't think it is, or it's a guaranteed one stopper from here. We'll see. I do want to point out the trends of the race here, thanks to Hunter Mac Reynolds there, of course, Hunter Sleppy, who's not here with us today. Michigan tends to only have 2 cautions for about 6 laps. We'll say James Scioli won the last race here, season 6. And that caution, the race's last caution, was 37 laps to go. Season 2, Jake Nichols won here in a caution-free event here. So we obviously aren't going that route, but we are coming to the route of pit road. I will almost bet the farm Seth Noel is going to be putting 4 tires on, because remember, he took what we presumed to be 2 last time. And some paint scuffs to that right front.
Yeah, he's probably not the only one. Again, it's super tight coming out of turn 4. That wall will reach out and love you. Keep an eye on the jack stand. It is actually invisible on iRacing. The right side goes up, and I would imagine the left sides are going to follow suit.
No,
they do not. It is going to be another 2-tire stop.
Sebastian Marin, he's going to do something. No, Marin's even taken 4 too. I thought this was a prime spot for Sebastian to do some gamery to get to the front, but not to be the case. But Jake Nichols will come out with the race lead, and it is in my list to re-implement the pit time feature onto our graphics package. I had it on there, and it broke, but I will fix it. But as you can see, Dirt, and we'll describe to our race fans here, a lot more drivers testing out that strategy.
Yeah, look at Frank Barroso in the 51 machine. He's going to be P3. Travis Beckner gaining a little bit there. Yeah, this is definitely shaking things up a bit, but Frankie Barroso, no tires on that machine. So I've been looking at lap times, Corey, and really before this caution came out, they had not fallen off a lot. And with the draft is a bit of a Band-Aid, Frankie might not be hung out to dry. He might actually be able to keep pace with these guys, at least for a while.
No, don't tell me. Don't tell me. I saw Van Drugman on the apron. Are we?
Oh, we're in super save mode, boys. We are in super save.
There's coupons at the grocery store with the amount of super saving that we're doing right here. We have a couple drivers in the pits, and that's Frankie, who just... Now, is he going to take tires this time by? I wouldn't fully understand the reasoning. No? What's he doing?
No.
Topping off again.
So that tells me, ladies and gentlemen, what's happening here is they are topping off.
David Weishart.
And sacrificing track position.
Here's where I worry.
Last possible minute.
Every time, and I want to say this happened at Las Vegas. Someone fact checked me on this, but David Weishart had an amazing race. He had one of those come to the front, start at the back, come to the front races, and he had to do it all over again, and then it just ended in calamity. I worry about him getting to the front here again. I know how fast that 29 is. I want to see him get to finish it through, but starting in the back again, the pack racing is going to be even more chaotic as each lap ticks by. So it is a gamble putting yourself into the hornet's nest.
Yeah, obviously a lot of the issues we've seen tonight have been mid-pack, and so it is a bit of a gamble, but man, fuel saving is extremely doable here, Corey. I actually really like that play for those drivers that seem to be committing to it, because if you just don't shift down to 4th, that's saving fuel over everybody else. And if you can do a little bit of super save and hypermiling, maybe you pull a strategy win out. But we're going to go green flag, and we're going to let you hear all of the sights and sounds from Michigan with a temporarily loud engines restart.
broke our normal curse here, and we managed to do a temporarily loud engines without a caution flag here as we head to get to crossed flags here halfway in the Michigan 200 by the Area Cup Series, brought to you by the Studio Temporary. Corey and Dirt giving you the calls here on PTR TV and on Area Twitch, as Jake Nichols, our leader, over Seth Noel, again on those alternate no-tire or two-tire strategies here. As Travis Beckner, I think he's in a very tight 3 wide here off turn 2.
Yeah, Beckner not too comfortable there. Low side of a 3 wide situation. He's got Adam Cabot to his immediate outside, and then it was Jeremy Miller up against the wall, but they were able to sort it out. And that Hendry County machine is going to be able to continue on and fight another day. Getting a little bit dicey, though. I think I saw some tire smoke off the wall there. These guys are definitely not wasting time on these restarts. I think they know the separation tends to kick in after a few laps, and so they want to get while the getting's good. That's why they fan out. They do this 3-4 wide. They want to get positions. It's like a blue light special at Kmart. It's only going to be good for so long. You got to get.
Yeah, I don't know if you can do a Kmart reference in 2026, though. Is there one left on the planet, I think?
I'm not even sure if there's one, quite frankly.
Well, I made a logo for Dirt Pops a Goob, but we didn't get to it, so we'll have to check that out. But Jarrett Tallmadge here, it's always a name that I struggle to utter, but he is now in 9th, and look who has cracked the top 10. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Sebastian Marin. He is now looking to the inside and digging for more, and give him any opportunity to get back into the game here. If this thing went green flag the whole way, he probably would have not gotten up there 25 seconds back, but you let him close the gap 2-3 times. Now you're dealing with the beast here as he is working to try to get further up.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing out of that driver. He has been so calm and just so relaxed this entire race. Sebastian Marin picking him off whenever the opportunity arises. If they go a little wide, if they open the door, he just kind of scoots on around him. Otherwise, he's not getting up on the bumper. He's not getting hyper-aggressive. He's just kind of doing his thing, and he's just passively gaining positions, taking care of his equipment. It's been a good recovery. When you start in the back, sometimes you got to think long-term, and that's exactly what he's doing now inside the top 10. And right now, there's not a lot of separation for the leaders, so this top 10 is basically with the lead pack, as he gets a little close for comfort with that Hendry County number 28.
Oh, no. Beckner, hard on the fence.
Yeah, Beckner. Oh, that's going to be another position, probably, for Marin. Take a look at the PTR TV instant replay. Let's see what happened to Beckner. If this was just a matter of the car getting tight or maybe a little bit of help. The 28 rocking that middle groove. The 66 was up high. There is a car beneath.
Yeah.
I think that was, yeah.
2 cars for the same spot, really. It's one of those tight calls here, off corner exit. Just kind of lose air, banking falls away from you. There's Marin there right to the bottom on that yellow line. We talk about that's not the ideal line there, but he made it work, and if you can keep the side draft there, obviously that is going to be beneficial to you. Did have some confirmations here with the cautions that we have had. 2 incident points were assessed to Philip Groner for his first caution. 2 incident points heading to Douglas Newbigging on the 71. Of course, the rec score, the incident system gives you the penalties, gives you the EOLs, gives you the parking for the races here. So being clean ever so important. But Nichols and Noel up front, and they have been ever since they got there, haven't given it back. Again, as I said, Jake Nichols, our season 2 winner here at the Michigan Speedway. 4 winners at this racetrack in the area history. Only 3 are here. Tyler Hallman won season 1, but he is not here. So all in all, Jake Nichols looking to do some good things here, but a lot of time left to go, and I'm so curious if Sebastian can get there. And also, remember David Weishart. Remember, he's been up front the whole race start. He chose to top off. He's back in 31st, going nowhere. But is that intentional to save fuel to go nowhere?
You know, I think it's probably intentional. It's also just kind of going with the flow. of traffic around you. Up front, they're running 38.5s, and that's kind of the average lap time. Where Weishart is, the average is a 38.9 to a 39.0, and he's running 38.8s, so he's actually a little bit quicker than the cars around him. But yeah, I mean, he's in a pack where you're not really going to be given an opportunity to take a run anywhere. He's just kind of falling in line, and I think it's benefiting him with that fuel, like you said. There's no reason to get too aggressive, no reason to try to make too many passes. If you're doing this on fuel, then you can't really worry about, hey, I got to get up, I got to get 3 wide. You really stick in the draft, that's your best bet.
Here's Ryan Swan, our blue tip pool builders number 20. Of course, you can bring your backyard to life with blue tip pool builders. Customize your pool for your unique aesthetic and design. They have skilled craftsmen, cutting-edge tech to bring your pool to life. If you don't have a pool or space for it, they can do up your outdoor lounging area, give you a sweet outdoor kitchen, dynamic lounging, and more. Head to bluetippools.com there. Ryan Swan in the 26th position there, and currently running a little bit ahead of the boss who we just pictured there on the screen, Jacob Bell, in 32nd. But he's also one of those top-off drivers. So we'll see where that comes into fruition. But Travis Beckner still can't shake the battles here. Jeremy Miller in 6th, battling with Reese Schaefer. And just behind that, Jaws Music Hewitt, there is Sebastian.
Yeah, and a little bit further up from the 2 wide here, I do want to point out Adam Cabot ran a 38.4. He was 0.2 faster than the next car ahead. He's actually looking pretty good there in 5th. I think they're in danger of losing this lead pack if they slip too much further back. But either way, he's got good pace. Seems like he's done a good job maintaining his tires. That middle groove, he pulls up on that number 7, gains about a 10th right there. He will get alongside. You're going to have to do a little bit of side drafting, but keep an eye on him. He's actually making some steady progress. Lap time's better than the leaders. So he's moving.
I'm actually surprised, but I'm not surprised that he went to the outside. I think we're having enough fall off, enough handling degradation here that rather than pushing Scioli there, he was able to go up to the outside and make the pass. Because, of course, when you make the pass, you're creating a big parachute in the air that will lose you time to the drivers in front. So, but he got by with relative ease. He's 1 second back. He's 0.6 back from John Forbes. And that is what we like to call draft range there, within 0.7 of a second. So he'll slowly start to eat into that gap as long as he can have some solid corners.
Yeah, and the lap times are showing it. 38.7 last time when he was making an overtake, and he was still only 1/10 slower than Forbes. So I think given a clean lap, he might reel him in. But for the lead, Seth Noel getting a little bit antsy here. He's looking to the low side, all the way down to that yellow stripe, putting himself in the danger zone. Kenny Loggins would be proud, trying to maybe get close enough to side draft him, but unable to get there that time. Another good run down the straightaway. It's going to pull him right up to the tow hitch. You can try it again here in 1 and 2, but lap 60 in the books on a 61. Getting to, I would say, getting pretty close to go time here for these drivers that are not fuel saving, and Noel knows it.
Now, something that I do have a little concern about, and maybe they don't, but you know, there's a lot of times, Dirt, on you don't even call them restrictor plate, the drafting tracks here, as we call it here in 2026. You'll take 2 tires, or other tracks, you'll take 4 tires, then you take 2, but you'll always try to sequence it so that you can have the freshest left sides possible, just in case you want to take 2 tires as your last stop. You think there's any concern about basically having your original lefts on the car for the entire 100 laps?
That's a question for iRacing. I know the tire model has changed so much throughout the years. I know there's been periods on iRacing where you can pretty much go the whole race without changing the tires, and then periods where you're not getting away with that. But I'll tell you, Seth Noel made that bottom groove work that time, and that slowed up the 73 big time. That brings John Forbes into the picture, and right behind John Forbes, look at that, there he is, Adam Cabot. I said he was going to catch these leaders. Here he is. Now a 4-player battle for the lead. Noel takes the point once again by force. This is a good battle, boom. These guys have been so close in pace. I think now that they've found each other, they're going to put on a show.
Now, something of interest to note into this, and we'll see if it has any potential worthiness to consider, is that John Forbes is on 4 fresh tires along with Adam Cabot. So is that perhaps why that number 70 has a little bit more pace, a little bit more agility, perhaps, even if you're going the same speed, maybe a little bit more comfort to make some different moves, run some different lines that those 4 tires have. But I don't know if this is good news or bad news, Derek, but what number is Sebastian Marin, and where is he currently running on the racetrack right now?
The number 66 is P6, and I tell you what, that is up 10 from where he qualified, but that doesn't tell the whole story. Again, he got in real well. He was tail end of the field, down in the 40s. Now he is knocking on the door of the top 5 if he can catch up to James Scioli. He's a little ways up the road, might take a while, but it has been a slow and steady recovery, and if he finishes right where he's at right now, that is still, in my book, a massive success.
Here's our 2-time winner this season, Van Drugman, battling in 23rd. I'm trying to check here on the back end if he was one of those top-off drivers. He was not. I'm not sure if maybe he's saving, even though he didn't top off, but I guess maybe that's something we should consider right now. Let's do a little lap time analysis of the packs right now. A 38.7 for Seth Noel, who's obviously going full bore. And let's go back to someone who we know is on that alternate strat. David Weishart, 0.6 slower, and just look where he is on the tractor. There's no reason for David to be going that slow. It's not aero, it's not the pack, it's not the draft. That has to be of pure intent to be going that slow.
Yeah, I would imagine he's doing a little bit of hypermiling, but you got to be careful, Corey. Another thing we've seen in the booth is somebody who does make it on fuel, but they've given up so much time trying to save it that the pit stop was actually faster. So you got to be cautious of that. And I think if he continues his current pace, he's at risk of giving up more time on fuel saving than he would have given up coming down pit road. That's if it stays green. That is just a big assumption. It may well not stay green. We may see some yellow flags down the line.
Well, let's do some PTR TV math, Dirt. I mean, this is something that we all absolutely despise doing because we're terrible at it, but we can try. 38 seconds is from cone to cone, from pit cone, which I will show you on the screen, even though you know what a cone is, from that, well, orange dot,
not even a cone.
To that green cone, about 39 seconds. Now, you do have to slow down, so let's add maybe 3 seconds to that. And then you have to wrap the apron all through turn 2. Let's add maybe 3 seconds to that. So let's just, for the sake of argument, say about 42 seconds to make a pit stop. Are you losing 42 seconds running that slow, I guess, is the million-dollar question.
It's hard to tell. He's currently 13 seconds back from the leader, so, you know, he's got a bit of a cushion. It looks like it's working out, but as the tire wear sets in, as they lose the draft,
Jeremy
that
Miller
could rapidly expand.
In the pits, I'm going to try to figure out if something happened to him. Registered with a black flag. I'll wait to see if anything pops up. He was black flagged on lap number 67, Jeremy Miller. I don't see any incident that prompted, but I'm sure if we will get some back-end information to describe that, we certainly will. So that number 30, his race for any contention is over with here. But now we are lap 70, 30 laps to go, which is only about 20 minutes of racing here at the Michigan Speedway. And we have some strategy going, which Michigan Speedway and strategy goes together like peanut butter and jelly. Our leaders out now up on a 25-lap stint. Can they go 55 laps? We don't know. We don't think so. We have some drivers in the back who pitted a lap later to top off. Can they go, 54 laps? We don't know. They're going to try. A fuel mileage race at Michigan Dirt. I am absolutely crossing my fingers this plays out.
And imagine we could have this in real NASCAR if it weren't for stages. But yeah, it's going to be a fuel mileage race, it seems, as long as we can stay green. And again, it's that compounding effect. You see how separated we are all throughout the field, Corey, that just kind of lends itself towards staying green. But at the same time, the tighter these cars get, every time you do get too wide, as uncommon as it may be, just like this number 7 of Scioli, John Forbes in the 70, when you get side by side like that and these tires are starting to let go, the exit of the corner gets scary. It gets real scary.
Yeah, it definitely does. So the handling goes away, you put more wheel into it, and then when the time the car bites, it bites too much, and then you find yourself to the inside. Luckily, Michigan has, I think we could call it hectares and hectares of runoff pavement there to the inside to save the car, and then a lot of grass on the front. Of course, I think it was after Greg Moore in 2000 at Fontana, which at the time was owned by Roger Penske, which at the time Michigan was owned by Roger Penske. After that incident, I think that infield got paved quite a bit, and it has saved many cars. Although we had a flip here in the real world, didn't we? Was it Priest? I don't remember. There was a flip here in the real world last, I think it was right after the Daytona race, but someone will fact check me
I
on that.
believe it was a front row car, the 38 maybe? Zane Smith?
Right a bit, 'cause I think it was right around the Daytona time after they had just added the flap, and obviously it was proved not to work, but they fixed that still, and these next gens at the time of this recording are staying on the ground, even here in the simulator. But here is Adam Cabot again on those fresher tires, battling with Jake Nichols. Now all of this acts as a parachute, which allows Noel to get a little bit further ahead, but I don't know if he can get ahead to break the draft, which is 0.7 of a second. But Sebastian Marin has entered the chat. Here he is in the 6th spot. James Scioli in 5th. And look at Seth Noel, shades of the Indy 500 with that draft breaking.
And it seems to be working for him. I mean, a 0.3 of a second lead is about as big as we've seen any race leader get without somebody right on the bumper. It's always been a 2-car breakaway until now, but Adam Cabot trying to make it not so much a 1-car breakaways. He is in the slipstream, following him down there, not letting him break that track, and he is reeling him in just a little bit at a time. Last time by for Seth Noel, it was 38.956. For second place, Adam Cabot, it was 38.8. So not a tenth quicker. He is moving. That long run pace is great. And Sebastian Marin, you mentioned him joining this lead pack. That is also a driver with some long run pace. So we are seeing a lot of fluctuation in this field, a lot of things happening in this race, coming and going. This is a joy to watch. Now for the lead, Adam Cabot has brought that gap to nothing, Corey. It is under 0.1 of a second on the podium going into turn 1. Third place, Jake Nichols just watching it happen. They're going to go side by side. James Scioli and John Forbes are further back. But I'll tell you what, this is going to be a battle, because I don't know what it is about NASCAR drivers and iRacing NASCAR drivers, Corey, but even when you're going to be coming down pit road, you're coming up on a pit cycle, for whatever reason, you still want to make that pass. You want to be the first car in line when you come down pit road.
Pit
it's
stops.
completely useless.
Ben Pierce pitting, and he has the black flag, so obviously a little bit too egregious with the speeding there, entering the pits. But Zach Carr pitting, Brent Pancari, so the back guys in the back, again, maybe trying to use a little bit of that strategy, get maybe that 1 second of fall off, trying to have that cumulative effect. But again, sorry to cut you off, but it's just a matter of time. Who of the top 10 is going to wave the white flag? Not literally, but the white flag, and I can't make it to the end.
It's going to be interesting to see who does come down the quickest. If I was a betting man, I'm going to say Adam Cabot might try to undercut the race leader. He knows he's got better long-run speed. Maybe doesn't even worry about tires being a little bit worse off and paying that trade-off for coming down early. But that's just a theory. We'll see what he actually winds up doing. Nearly going to go 3 wide. Marin's poking his nose on the outside. The 73 under fire from the number 70. John Forbes is going to fall back in line now, side by side for P4.
Joseph Causey.
Fishtail there.
I don't know. I think he used the wall, so I don't think we can give that the Ricky Rudd Save of the Race award. But it's definitely worthy of something because it kept this race moving. Green flag. Contact with Harberts there. He locked it down, went to the flat, and when he got back on the track, he stayed straight enough, so Barney said let him play.
And he did not use the wall. He just gathered. Oh, no! For the lead, we're going to door slam.
When it cut back to live footage, it had a little bit of a delay getting back to live footage, so they were just going hyper speed.
Yeah, that was not quite live, but in warp speed, they were door slamming. And for the lead, Adam Cabot has taken it. I did not expect him to take it quite that easy down in the yellow line. You see him working that steering wheel, maybe using that flat part of the corner to try to get that thing to slide a little bit, to get it to rotate. That is something you can do, and it seemed to work out. But third place, Sebastian Marin. What do you think, Hillary? I mean,
third place.
Last to first. There it is. For a moment, at least.
Yeah, he's going to try to pull that side draft down the front straightaway, get to the right front. Door tap, that's one way to do it. Drive your way by, has the push from Noel. Noel actually going to push Cabot up the racetrack. Now, if you can't make it, is this the best time to pit? Although, as they were all over each other, Cabot and Noel, quite literally, that's not how you stay there. What is this, 2003 Darlington beating Doors to the line?
Yeah, these guys are not playing nice. I don't know if there's some sort of history between them, or if maybe the tempers are just flaring a little bit from the contact earlier this race, but they are just not leaving an inch. They're going to finally sort it single file with Adam Cabot P3, Seth Noel P2, Jimmy Skyler there in fourth, and for the lead, got another side-by-side lunge. Seth Noel looked low, nobody was home. And Sebastian going to lead this lap. And again, last to first, a slow and steady run to the front. Took him about 80 laps, Corey, but he got there in the end. And the only question now is all of the pit chaos. That number 51, remember him back there, David, he still has not pit. He's about 16 seconds back off the leader. So if they do pit, he will definitely get around them by quite a safe margin, if our math is correct. Now, that was Corey math, and here at PGR TV, that's not our specialty.
Well,
don't take it too seriously, but we think he would.
Well, I want to do something here. Jacob Bell did a splash and go, and his pit lane time was 30 seconds. So if we add those couple extra seconds in and out, 35 seconds, that is enough. Actually, no, let's scratch all of that. Here they all come.
In a freight train, they all give at the same time. Cabot, Forbes staying out on the track, but the previous race leaders, Sebastian Marin, Seth Noel,
Nichols,
the number 70 machine bringing it down to 78. This is a little earlier than I was expecting.
Well, if you know you can't make it, you may as well just proverbially throw the white flag in. And Cabot, I think he's coming this time by. He backed off very early, so I worry about him, how close to the pack he's going to stay. He drove it in late. Josh Caudell getting the black flag there, as you can see on the ticker, and a wave of vehicles following him in. There's Beckner. There is Cole Hooper. Haven't talked about him. Forbes, Talmadge, Reese Schaefer, and a few others. And that'll give the temporary lead, rather, to Connor Horn.
And so he will inherit the lead and hold on to it for as long as his fuel tank can hold on, at least. And I believe you're going to see that 67 probably come down. He got out of the throttle very early. Is Horn going to try to pit? Yes, he is. You see it down to third. Red lights go on. Pretty good.
If he made that,
a little bit on the brakes.
He's a boss. If he made that.
Don't see the flag coming up.
There's a little bit of a lag time on the telemetry you see compared to the real output, just the nature of software. So far so good. But now we got to watch the blend point here of all the drivers. Actually, no, what we're going to watch is who is still on the track and where are they in relation to the drivers who pit. Sebastian Marin currently running 16th right now. You can see Seth Noel behind him. They pit for about 10 seconds in the box. So that is about half a tank. That's a substantial amount of fuel. So was that to get the rear end of the car down, maybe to help with some speed, putting more weight in the rear, give you a little bit more, lower some drag perhaps? Because I don't think they needed that much.
Yeah, I don't think they needed that much either, but they could also be planning on a green-white checkered just in case. That is a possibility. We'll never know. Maybe we can ask them about it in the interview if they finish well enough. But back a little further here, this gaggle of cars is...
this is the Wiseheart crew.
Yeah, this is all those drivers that were saving fuel in that hyper-miling mode. Yeah. P4 currently for David, Logan Helton ahead, Garrett Durant. I think they're going to be able to make it.
Well, here's the thing,
I
Dirt.
don't know. It's,
They're 14. They are 12 seconds ahead of Sebastian Marin right now. So, last time by, Sebastian Marin a 38.2. I'll pull up the ticker and switch it over for lap time so you can see it. Sebastian Marin a 38.3. David Weishart a 39.8. That's 1.5 seconds. 1.5 times 14. I don't know exactly what it is, but that's a lot bigger than the number 14. So, at the pace they're going, Sebastian's going to get to them anyways.
now, Sebastian's tires will plateau a little bit. The advantage will fade with every passing lap, but I think you're exactly right. He's close enough that he should have no trouble getting there, given the 13 laps remaining. And this is what I was concerned about with Weishart. Sometimes the time you give up on those old tires
RPMs,
and saving that fuel is just too great. Staying in fifth gear, 175 through the quarter. I mean, he is absolutely in full save mode even now.
Yeah, I saw him down, cutting the clutch, and there it goes. Down to 2,000. That's cutting the clutch, coasting it in. Now he's back on the throttle. But again, he just doesn't have the amount of time to give. Now it's only 11 seconds to Sebastian Marin. And we still have two drivers on the track. Patrick Moose in the 45, as well as Garrett Grant. They are 14 seconds ahead of those drivers, so they didn't top off. However, they are still on the track going full bore. I mean, the other drivers only have a lap, Dirt, so it's not like those, Weishart and company have an extra 5 laps. They're not that much in a better situation than Moose and Grant are.
I would have to agree. And I'm just trying to look throughout this field, trying to see also how much traffic these drivers that have pitted are going to be dealing with on the way up, because it may not just be cars on the lead lap, but really there's only a handful of lappers. Brett Pancari, Justin Amasogak, Bryce Senesac, these guys are one lap down, but the majority of the field is on the lead lap. Gavin Rogers, the last of them, back in 30 seconds, so shouldn't be too much traffic to deal with getting up to him. Should be relatively smooth sailing, but with 10 to go, still a ways up the road. It is anybody's game.
25 seconds off the race lead and about 8 seconds behind the second pack is Sebastian Marin. Last time by a 38.7 to about a 40 flat for David Weishart. So are they saving with a buffer, or are they just saving to try to make it? We'll find out. But right now, Jacob Bell and Drew Jua, this is a battle for the lead of this pack. Logan Helton is in third right now. He is just behind. We kind of ignored him, not to be rude to Mr. Helton, but not Mike Helton, Logan Helton. But he is about a second behind Moose and Grant. So we're still waiting to see what those two are up to, what these three are up to. And then we have the rest of them who we know are ultra saving. And then we have the pitters. The only thing that could screw this up is a caution flag. But the real world, Dirt, was it 2009, the late, great Biff. And him and Jimmy Johnson ran each other out of fuel going for the win here. And then who was it? Mark Martin, who just passed the both of them. Something like that very well could be applicable tonight.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, they still gave the win to Greg Biffle, which was kind of controversial because him and Jimmy didn't cross the line, but they were fighting daylight, and the whole race was a bit
that
of
was Kansas.
So.
That was Kansas. What I'm talking about was actually here at Michigan. Him and Johnson ran each other out of fuel, and then Mark Barton and the COT Hendrick ended up winning that race. 2009. But yeah, you're talking about the 05 Kansas pseudo night race before lights, which now in hindsight, I don't care that Biff won it, but he shouldn't have in the moment. But here is the Moose coming in with 7 to go, realizing I can't make it. That's going to give Garrett Grant the win. Getting a little foreshadowing here. Giving him the lead, and he's going to need to do the 1989 DW at Daytona and draft off of everything in front of him.
Yeah, if there is anything to grab a pull off of, that is he's going to have to do it. Try to just stay in line. A little bit of a wall tap on the straightaway from the car ahead. Don't see that very often, but He is in super save mode. Logan Helton right behind by about 4
Nope, never mind.
And then a huge gap, and yep, there he goes into the pit. So he's going to concede, and that is going to give Logan Helton the lead by about 16 seconds. When will he come down pit road? Will he try? We'll find out. But behind him, Drew Jua, Jacob Bell, David Weishart.
This is David Brown there, Dirt. And if you look, there's a little teeny tiny little purple pixel coming off turn number 4 right there. That is Sebastian Marin. Now the gap for Sebastian Marin, because this is very important now. Now we have to really start doing that level 2 math, which is not something that any of us here at PTR TV enjoy doing, as he's going to drive by Vid Drugman, who's on a fuel save. Now we're going to wait for Logan Helton to pit. So now my stat is a little bit off here. No, it's going to be good right now, because once he passes this driver, watch that next position graphic. 3 seconds to Hayden Swank, who is the tail end of that Weishart and Jacob Bell pack. And watch that gap, how quickly it goes down, as here comes Logan in. So this is now the battle for the win.
This is going to be real close. He's going to get there, I think. Whether or not he can get around all of them, because there is quite a few cars in that pack. Navigating them is going to inherently take some time. It's not a guarantee. Things are looking good for Marin, but it is no guarantee. Drew Jua leading some laps, Jacob Bell, David Weishart, P3, Seth Berger, Frankie Barroso. Oh my goodness, and Hayden Swank. And then Sebastian Marin, 2 seconds back from the tail end of this field. 4 to go with the line. Or 5 to go, I should say. He's got plenty of time, but again, Corey, this is 4 or 5 cars he's got to try to navigate and get around. There's lap times on the screen for Sebastian Marin, 38.7. He is the only driver in that 38-second bracket.
Now, Drew Jua has himself a gap here, which means one of 2 things. Either he's comfortable or he's trying too hard. Now, answer which one it is, I don't know. When was the last time in PTR TV history that a league admin won a race? I want to say the answer is never.
Maybe.
But is it going to happen here today? Well, 3 laps, that's 6 miles here as Hayden Swank coming in. He was in this pack, so he has thrown in the proverbial white flag here. He has figured out that I can't make it, but Sebastian Marin has caught the end of this pack here, coming off of 2. He's 2 seconds behind Drew Jua, and he's running about a second faster a lap. Math says this is just about a photo finish. If anything, I'm giving the 66 the upper hand.
Yeah, I would give him the upper hand as well, but he's got to navigate all these passes perfectly. If he wastes even a second on any of these passes, it's going to be game over. Because it is a game of tenths of a second. I think by the time he gets there, he's looking outside of Seth Berger. He is going to make that move.
Oh, he's got it.
1.3 seconds now, the difference. Oh, buddy,
he's got it.
Barn burner.
This is NASCAR 25 on easy mode right now, as fast as he's driving by these drivers. He's by Weishart. He's by Berger. And then the rest of his friends are coming on through. But this is going to be the white flag coming this time by. Jacob Bell has had to pit, I do believe. He is out of the mix here. But Barney has the flag in hand. Who is going to have the fuel, or who's going to have the time to win here at Michigan?
I'll tell you what, Drew Jua had a bit of help with the draft at 56, holding him second place. Marin did not gain through 3 and 4. The gap is still a second on the back straightaway. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think Drew might have this in the bag with a pull from the 56. Is going to look low. Sebastian Marin still reeling him in, brings it down to 7/10
It's
of a second.
It's sputtering! He's sputtering! It's going to be a drag race off the corner! Here comes Marin out of fuel with a 1/4 of a mile to go. Sebastian Marin will win here at Michigan.
Oh my goodness, Corey, have you ever?
Well, maybe about once or twice, but remnants of Dale Jr. at the Coke 600. He needed about not even 0.1 gallon. He needed about 7 drops of fuel to get him off of turn 4. And as a lot of people will say in our YouTube chat, in Discord, all of that for a Sebastian Marin win.
Well, I'll tell you, it was an exciting win. That was a prime example of why strategy in motorsport is sometimes more fun than just the outright door-banging action. I mean, it was perfect. It worked out exactly perfect. If one thing had gone wrong, Corey, if he had made a little bit of contact on his way up, back up to the leader, if he had gotten a little loose one single time, he may not have been close enough to capitalize on Drew sputtering. And if Drew had saved just a little bit more fuel, maybe he's holding the checkered flag right now. I mean, that was intense.
Now let's go back and just watch that run to the line and how tight it really was here. It was, the onboard here said it. Now look how far back he is. That is about a second. But now Drew Jua here, you can watch that RPM gauge. It's fluctuating. He's down to the flat. He's got nothing. And there goes Marin, and there goes Scioli for good measure.
It was a valid effort. That was an amazing effort by Drew, and it might not have got him the win, but I'll tell you, he couldn't have done it much better.
And what did we say in the pre-race dirt? Michigan ends up being a fuel mileage race? Well, I was a little pessimistic. We had some cautions, but in the end, Michigan did Michigan things. Well, let's go over the final rundown of results here today from the Area Cup Series at the Michigan Speedway. Sebastian Marin doing the effective last to first challenge here in the most amazing of styles. Gets it by 9/10 of a second over James Scioli. Drew Jua is going to be thinking about that one for years to come. Heartbreak for third. John Forbes in fourth. Jake Nichols in fifth. Connor Horn gets a sixth. Noel Barroso Beckner and Michael Curhan rounding out the top 10.
And rounding out the top 20, Seth Berger P11, Reese Schaefer P12, Jarrett Tallmadge going to be P13, Jacob Harbert's 14th, David Brown 15th, David Weishart tried to save the fuel, didn't quite work out, P16, Tyler Nichols going to be 17th, Philip Groner P18, Zach Card 19th, and running out the top 20, Patrick Moosen at 45.
And we'll let the rest of them scroll on by here. Logan Heltedy was up there. And all these drivers, just different strategies, or their races didn't go the way they liked. Jacob Bell, he was in that pack, but obviously the fuel saving for him, not to the level of everybody else. But what a race. And we have our winner here in Victory Lane. Well, Sebastian, not the first time we've talked to you in Victory Lane, but, well, this is a complete different set of circumstances from anyone I've ever talked to you after. Has the heart started calming down yet?
I think a little bit. That was a little closer than really I think all of us that pitted expected. I thought we probably thought that, you know, they could have maybe salvaged a good day but not be that close to actually winning the race. So good job on Drew and everyone else that was on that strategy. I was with Drew, obviously being my teammate, and he pulled the trigger too soon. He started pushing with like 4 to go, and I think if he just waited until I got there, he probably could have helped me out, to be honest, because the tires were already evening out. So, yeah, that was way closer than we wanted.
Yeah, and of course, you had to do the pseudo last to first challenge there, taking that drive through. Obviously, we had some cautions, and we had some long stretches here. Was there any point in the race where you thought, oh, I might not be able to get here, or did you kind of have that feel and the vibe as the race progressed?
I feel like if it went green, I could have gotten top 3, like no matter what. If it went green, I would have enough time to get up there. It was more when the yellows fell, because usually 2 tires is the way to go in this car, but the race was so long that the people that were taking 2 every pit stop, well, eventually their lefts would just be too low on the tread, and then it would just start killing their drive. And I think that's what happened to Seth and Nichols and all those people that took 2 the entire race. Their lefts were, I think, in the single digits, if not very low teens. So they just had no speed compared to me. I was kind of banging on a long green flag run like this, so then I could, you know, prepare myself to take 2 on the last pit stop and not have the worn out left-hand tires. But Just a good race. Just thankful this race was not a lap shorter.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, the most thrilling win I've got to call for you, man. I'll give you the floor for any shout-outs you want to give.
Just shout out to GC Spider Studios being on the car, and shout out to LDV for letting me run under their name, and shout out to you guys for putting on these broadcasts. It's always a lot of fun to go and rewatch these races. So.
All right, man. We'll go celebrate. I'm glad that you're back and the pedals are all fixed, and hopefully we'll see you later this week or next week at worst.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And now second place, Mr. James Scioli, who managed to sneak one through. He's with Dirt in P2.
Mr. Scioli, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
All right, first off, an apology for mispronouncing your name for the first half of the race. Just pretend I didn't do that if you go back and watch. But in the meantime, you had a phenomenal race. I mean, you got a lot of camera time just running up front with the leaders, at times posting lap times faster than the leaders. Played the strategy really good and just got a great points finish today. Tell me a little bit about your night.
Yeah, I can't say I'm the biggest fan of this kind of racing. Just really packed up, kind of almost IndyCar-esque. You know, you get into the corner and then you just pick up the throttle all the way and away you go. So it's kind of, just all about clean air. And I kept getting stuck around that 13th to 15th, and it's just so tough. Those guys are just racing so hard to try and get to where you're single file and, break into the top 10, and that's where you're really making good speed and saving tires. So I was really just stuck for a while. Then took 2 tires on that last yellow there, and that finally broke me into about 6th, and then I was just able to run my pace, run how I wanted. And I feel like I saved my tires pretty good, even still running a pretty good pace. A lot of guys were burning up right front, and I was just able to keep it a little bit lower on the exits and save some right front, and definitely helped towards the end. So yeah, all in all, pretty happy with how it went.
Yeah, nothing to hang your head about there. Phenomenal run. I do want to ask, you mentioned taking those 2 right sides, and a lot of drivers were kind of on the back foot when it came to tire wear. Some drivers were taking no tires on some stops, and it seemed like these cars were getting really tight for you guys out there, wanting to seek out that outside wall. How did it feel behind the wheel as far as handling?
Yeah, definitely really tight, especially in the dirty air, and especially kind of the lower on the track you were. To a certain extent, you would just push a lot more on exits. So it was really just trying to find the balance between still getting good enough runs down the straightaway to not be on the back foot going into the corner, but not pushing too hard to where you're just burning off the right front. And switching to 2 tires there towards the end definitely seemed to help a little bit. Just a little bit more left side tire where the car was just a little bit looser. So definitely helped the balance overall.
All right. Well, I appreciate the insight. And again, congratulations on the podium. Before we let you go, any shout outs you'd like to make?
Yeah, first off, big shout out to you guys for capturing these races. This was probably a pretty fun one with Drew almost making it there. So big shout out to you guys and the Advent team for taking some time out of your Mondays to help us out and broadcast these. Shout out Solar Flare. I got 2nd, Jake was 5th, and Seth was 7th. So 3 top 10s there. Shout out simspeedshop.com for being on the car. JWR Race Cars, Solar Flare Shop, and hopefully we're talking to you guys again next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your time. We'll be catching you again soon.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Now, Corey, I'm going to send you down to Heartbreak City to have a word with the man who almost did, Drew Jewett.
Well, Drew, I don't really know how to put this one together for you. You could say it was a phenomenal run and a good points day, but about 4 drops of gas too short, man. Which emotion's taking over more right now?
I'm not too upset. I felt like I made something out of nothing. I've been mid-pack almost all race. Just trying to save tires and really didn't really get anywhere. So I told my team that I was going to save, and I think I went maybe 1.5 laps too early, and ended up sputtering through 3 and 4. I was really, really close to begin with. I felt like once we got kind of bottled up in that pack in the back, I was able to save a lot. But we've had some unfortunate luck this year. I felt like we've had a lot of speed. Funny enough, my best finish comes when I felt like I had no speed. So happy that Seb won. LVV now has 3 wins this season, and honestly could be more. So yeah, it was a super enjoyable race, and looking forward to next week where maybe we can get another top 3.
Yeah, next week looks like we head to the Rock, so track that, a lot of drivers don't like this plate style, pack style racing, but Rockingham, complete opposite, especially in this next gen car, which of course not a lot of people will have the experience in. So what kind of confidence level would you take there under those circumstances?
I haven't raced too much on the new configuration or the new pavement, so it'll be. I'll have to put a lot of laps in the practice. So I know that Seb is going to be good there. So I could see LBV getting their 3rd win this year, but 4th win this year. I mean, so just happy to put ourselves closer to the points gap. Because we were 30 points back coming in this race, so a lot of points gained and a lot of confidence gained too.
Absolutely. Well, taking it in stride and looking at the positives of it, that's a good attitude to have, man. Great job, and we'll talk to you soon, I'm sure.
Yes, sir. Shout out to you guys and all the fans watching. It was a fun race.
Absolutely. See you later, man.
Later.
Well, that's a good outlook to have, Dirt. I would probably be crying in a fetal position in the corner, but he looked at it through the positive way, and Michigan did not let us down there. We saw pack race, and I think, what's our race recap today? Was it only 3 cautions? So right on the race average. 2 cautions, our race average here, and what a finish.
Yeah, phenomenal race. Anytime Michigan goes green, you're in for a good show, and Area did not let us down again. These guys are just absolutely top class. They are phenomenal to get a run the way that we did. Really 2 very long green flag runs. Strategy played out organically, and you just don't see that very often in motorsport anymore. So I had an absolute blast. Gotta love Michigan. Even when it's a pack race, it's exciting.
Absolutely. Our cameras here brought to you by Whiplash SimCams. Thanks to them. Of course, thank all the partners with the league. Again, subscribe here on PTR TV. Consider subscribing to the Area iRacing Twitch. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same channel, same track, same place. Truck Series will be at Michigan. Wednesday, we'll be live with Elbows Out. Thursday, we'll be back actually at the Iowa Speedway for the Florida State Builders Pro Series. So another week where the triple header's not in play. These drivers will have to be on their game, and I have all the faith they'll do just that. Hope you guys enjoyed the phenomenal race with the phenomenal finish here. It'll go down in Area history. Sebastian Marin getting himself another one. That's going to be Dirt and Corey signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.